Welcome everyone to Book Study 8 here on Unfolding Consciousness, a humongous text. This is a colossal work, 4 volumes, over 1,300 pages, over 20 years in the making. We're doing book 1 and we're just beginning, and I want to get it out there so everyone can have access to this. This is published last spring, but it's available, and I really want to share this with you. Unfolding Consciousness, exploring the living universe, and this is where you come in, and the intelligent powers, okay, the latent abilities in nature and humans. This is volume 1 of 3 volumes with a reference book at the end, and this is a panoramic survey, science contrasted with the perennial philosophy on consciousness and man, which means, of course, mankind. This is written by Dr. Eddie Villamoria. This is such an important text. This is the ancient, the archaic wisdom, and I want to be able to bring it to you so you can have access to it too. So what we're doing is I'm just starting to read this text with you. We're doing little chunks every week, and then we'd be happy to take your questions, your comments. Please feel free to leave those down below. And remember, if you'd like to, you can download the transcript by clicking the 3 dots down below. I'm going to put up a little mark right here where you can see I'm actually reading from the text. I will put a timestamp so you can go directly to the reading of the text. Later on in the episodes, I will be translating my understanding as a student also of Theosophy, the Perennial Philosophy. For the last 15 years, I'll be translating in my understanding, and then I will also include Eddie's brilliant text at the end so it stays pure. So what I was thinking is I thought I would go through the chapters. I might do that next episode so you can know what we're getting into. But we're going to start today with the Exordium, the beginning. So if you are ready, please join me for Book Study 8, Unfolding Consciousness. Here we go. Exordium means the beginning or the introduction. From Latin, exordium means the warp laid on a loom before the web is begun, or the starting point. The universe is a thought of the deity. Since this ideal thought form has overflowed into actuality and the world born thereof has realized the plan of its creator, it is the calling of all thinking beings to rediscover in this existent whole the original design. Friedrich von Schiller. Our age is proud of the progress it has made in man's intellectual development, and certainly we would take care not to make the intellect our goal. It cannot lead, it can only serve. This characteristic is reflected in the qualities of its priests, the intellectuals. The intellect has a sharp eye for methods and tools, but it is blind to ends and values. Albert Einstein. The scientific picture of the real world around me is very deficient. It gives a lot of factual information, but it is ghastly silent about all and sundry that is really near to our heart, that really matters to us. We do not belong to this material world that science constructs for us. Erwin Schrödinger. Verily, just as serpents close their ears, so do men close their eyes to the light of truth. Galileo to Kepler. Man was not made for science, but science by man, who remains more and greater than his creations. Sir Francis Walsh. Indissolubly linked with thought and action, love is their common mainspring, and hence their common bond. Louis de Broglie. Atheism is so senseless and odious to mankind that it never had many professors. Sir Isaac Newton. The commonest failing is the sectarian spirit, in which people diminish themselves by rejecting others. Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz. By materialists, I mean those who are, so to speak, mentally retarded by virtue of willful refusal, despite all evidence, to admit the possibility of non-physical life. E. Lester Smith. Science, especially through psychology, shines its brilliant light on the afterlife, and instead of illuminating it, causes it to shrink and die, revealing its core, anxiety. Peter Atkins, epitomizing virtually unanimous belief of establishment science. And consciousness does not vanish when the functions of the brain and body cease. That is Erwin Laszlo, exemplifying the burgeoning insights of enlightened science. How wretchedly inadequate is the theoretical physicist as he stands before nature. Albert Einstein. 30 years have passed since I published an account of experiments tending to show that outside our scientific knowledge, there exists a force exercised by intelligence differing from the ordinary intelligence common to mortals. Sir William Crookes. Current mainstream science, however, makes unscientific assumptions, even while assuming that they make no assumptions. To take one example, there is no single shred of evidence that matter gives rise to consciousness. Ian Gilchrist. The inability to identify any physical location of memory in the brain is one of the greatest clues that materialism is a failed worldview. Eben Alexander. By analogy with a pianist and a piano, the mind corresponds to the pianist and the brain to the piano. If either pianist or piano is inadequate, so will be the music. D.M.A. Leggett. Physical man is the musical instrument and the ego the performing artist. The potentiality of perfect melody of sound is in the former, the instrument, and no skill of the latter can awaken a faultless harmony out of a broken or badly made instrument. Physical man may be a priceless Stradivarius, or a cheap and cracked fiddle, or again, a mediocrity between the two in the hands of the Paganini who ensouls him. H.P. Blavatsky. Man is essentially a permanent and immortal principle. Only his bodies pass through the cycle of birth and death. The immortal is the reality, the mortal the unreality. During each period of earth life, reality thus dwells in unreality, to be liberated from it temporarily by death and permanently by illumination. Manly P. Hall. Life, like a dome of many-colored glass, stains the white radiance of eternity. Percy Bysshe Shelley. The visible world is part of a more spiritual universe, and union with that higher universe is our true end. William James. Visible life is explained by the invisible causes. Rudolf Steiner. The realm of the unseen is the realm of cause. The realm of the seen is the realm of effect. Ralph Waldo Trine. The universe is worked and guided from within outwards, and man, the microcosm and miniature copy of the macrocosm, is the living witness to this universal law and to the mode of its action. H.P. Blavatsky. The whole course of evolution bears witness to the principle of dying for the sake of life. Jalaluddin Rumi. Give up thy life if thou wouldst live. H.P. Blavatsky. To strive for the unattainable towards truth, beauty, and goodness, irrespective of how our weaknesses put restrictions on our endeavors, and to try to approach our Maker. Franz Liszt. There is no loftier mission than to approach the Godhead more nearly than other mortals, and by means of that contact to spread the rays of the Godhead through the human race. Ludwig van Beethoven. In seeking out truth, a man is faced with many stones too heavy for him to overturn, but he should never leave untouched any stone that lies within his capacity to overturn. Eddie Villamoria. The soul of man is immortal, and its future is the future of a thing whose growth and splendor has no limit. Mabel Collins in Light on the Path. Science can discover many things, but will never be able to fill the emptiness in the life of an individual. It can never give him the knowledge of self, which is essential to peace and happiness. In knowledge of self alone lies happiness. Manly P. Hall. Truth is the offspring of silence and unbroken meditation. Sir Isaac Newton. The truth needed for immediate and provisional use may be learned from books and teachers, but the truth of the ultimate revelation can be learned only from within oneself and by meditation. Paul Brunton. I love those. I love those so much. That is the Exordium, the very beginning. And all of those folks are in here. We have science, religion, philosophy. And again, this is unfolding consciousness. Consciousness being universal consciousness and our consciousness. We are of that creation. Universal consciousness created everything, even our brains and our minds and us. We are it. It is us. And how do we put that to work? Well, once we understand these ancient teachings and put them into practice, that is the utmost. And that's what all of them are saying. That is so important that we know who we are. Man, know thyself. So this work, which came out in 2022, yes, 2022, which I want to say this year, it's last year already, but it came out written down by Eddie Villamoria. He did not come up with these. These are ancient and timeless, and they belong to all of us. It is imperative that everybody have access to this book. I'll put links if you'd like to purchase. It is now available only in hardback, but we're looking at paperback, ebook, audio versions, abridged, study manuals, but we got to start somewhere. So that's why I'm here on the Living Theosophy channel, which went on hiatus last year. We were quiet, but I know many of you are already interested in this. This by far the greatest collection. And I do believe that through the application of these teachings, we have the ability to not only change ourselves, but by doing so, we can change the world. I have much hope for humanity, and I love you. Thank you for being here with me. Next week, we might just go through the chapters that we're going to be studying, and I look forward to having you here. If you have any questions, please mention them. Just write it down below. I'd like to be able to answer your questions directly in these videos, and we're moving forward to the live sessions where we can be on live in real time together. And I love you. I'm grateful for you. Happy New Year.